아, 나 이거 계속 하고 싶었는데 한 패 드디어 나왔더라고요. 예전에 진짜 재밌게 했던, 난 이런 게임이 좋아. 막 그냥 약간 스토리 보는 게임. 스탠리패러블 아시나요? 아시는 분 있죠? 스탠리패러블 세 버전 나왔는데 한 패도 있길래 한 패 기다리고 있었는데 나왔더라고. 한국어? 나 스탠리패를 좀 재밌게 했어요. 약간 이런 게임들 있잖아요. 뭐라고 해야 되지? 센즈류 게임들. 와! 그 게임 아시는구나. 아주 심오한 게임입니다. 이전에 스탠리패러블 게임 해보신 적이 있으신가요? 예. 컴퓨터가 거의 보이지 않을 때까지 슬라이더를 조정하세요. 보여요? 보여요? 어? 안 보여요? 안 보여요? 뭐? 중간 하자. 현재 시간을 이건 왜 입력해? 이거 좀 약간 벌써 심오한데? 벌써 약간 심오한데? 지금 몇 시죠? 아이씨, 몇 시야 지금? 12시 15분? 서비스 1분. 참고 접근성 기능은 메인 메뉴에서 설정할 수 있습니다. 냉. 두근두근 세근내근 더 스탠리패러블 우드라 디럭스. 설정 뭐 더 할 건 없겠지? 이 게임 모르시는 분도 계시죠? 이게 몰라도 될걸? 고! 아, 이거 설명을 해줘. 분명히 설명해줄걸?
This is the story of a man
해주네.
named Stanley.
잘 들으세요.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple.
나야.
He
저게
sat
나야.
at his desk in room
저렇게 나 방송하고
427
있어.
and he pushed buttons
보지?
on the keyboard. Orders came to him through
너무
a
할배
monitor on
같은데?
his desk,
키보드는
telling
저렇게 안
him
쳐요.
what buttons to push,
저거보단 잘 침.
how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month
공포 게임?
of every year.
이번 작
And although
공포
others
게임 아니지? 설마 나 공포
considered
게임
it
개 싫어하는데?
Stanley
보는 건 좋아하는데 내가 하는 건
every
싫어.
moment
그건 아니지.
he
이건 근데
was
전작이 약간 그 분위기가 사람이 안 나와서 약간 음침하긴 해. 근데 공포는 아니야. 공포 아니야? 아니면 다행이다. 나 공포하면 죽어. 목에 담 걸려.
And then one day something very peculiar happened.
아주 이상한 일이
Something that would
일어났습니다.
forever change Stanley.
김래 씨의 인생을
Something
완전히
he would never
바꿔버리고
quite forget.
잊지 못할 일이죠.
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had
어떻게
arrived
채팅이
on the
하나도 안
monitor
올라와?
for him to follow. No one showed up to give him
돌아와.
instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong.
뭔가
Shocked,
잘못됐어.
frozen solid.
내 잘못
Stanley
아니야.
found himself unable
전장이
to
망한
move
거야.
for the
내 잘못
longest
아니야.
time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
이거 너무 오랜만이다. 내가 이걸 언제 했더라? 완전 초기에 했던 것 같은데. 이게 이번에 한 패 해주신 분들이 이런 거 지금 이 텍스처에도 다 한글이 돼 있잖아요. 원래 전작에는 안 그랬거든. 이런 것도 다 한글이 돼 있어. 와, 야, 이것도 한글이 돼 있네. 와, 정성 지린다. 이런 거 A4 용지에도 한글 돼 있네. 잘 보이진 않는데 대박이다. 너무 좋고. 근데 이 게임이 아쉬운 게 점프가 없어요. 아씨. 뭐야, 도전과제. You can't jump C. 아니 씨발, 이게 업적이 있네. 아니 그냥 누른 건데. 갓게임이다. 이 게임이 이런 게임이에요. 근데 뭔지 알겠지? 이런 게임이야. 업적 이름부터 뭔가 하지 않음?
All of his co-workers were gone. What
근데
could it
전작이랑
mean?
시작이 똑같은데?
Stanley decided to go to the
약간
meeting
확장팩
room. Perhaps he
느낌이라고
had
듣긴
simply missed the
했는데
memo.
근데 이거 게임 가격이 좀 됐거든요? 그냥 확장팩이라
No
하기에는.
matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a
달라지긴
trace
했나?
of his co-workers.
꺼졌어. 컴퓨터 존나 꿀이다. 와, 플로피 디스켓 들어가는 거 님들 저거 알아요? 이거 모르는 응애들 있어? 와, 씨. 옛날에 저기다 피카츄 배구 넣고 다녔는데 포켓몬이라. 포켓몬스터라. 요즘에는 플로피 디스켓이 아니라 CD롬 또 본체에 넣을까 말까인데. 브라운관 이거 스타원 하는데 국룰 모니터잖아. CRT. 이번 작은 사람
Stanley
나오나?
came to a set of two open doors. He
열어줘요.
entered the door on his left.
왼쪽으로 들어갔습니다. 일단은 내레이션 시키는 대로 갈게요. 1트는 이거 원래 여러트 하는 게임이라서 1트는 시키는 대로 갑시다. 난 말 잘 듣는 김래. 고울들 말도 잘 들어. 씨. 열어줘요.
Yet there was not a single person here.
오.
Feeling
이거 뭐
disbelief,
진짜
Stanley decided to go
손글씨네.
up to his boss's office, hoping he
회의실.
might
야,
find an
너무
answer
리얼한데?
there.
송글씨 너무 리얼한데? 화이트보드 담당과 상의 없이 변경 금지. 회사 파티. 내일 할 일. 오늘 처리 못한 안건 끝내기. 내일 안건 작성. 반복. 이게 뭐야? 내일은 없다. 오늘이 내일이다. 이건 뭐야? 크리스가 청소 도구함 속에서 나오게 하기. 옛날에 이전작에 청소 도구함 엔딩이라고 있거든요. 그거 얘기인가 본데. 종이 복사할 사람 고용하기? 그거 제가 하면 안 돼요? 할 일이 그게 단가? 그놈 해고해? 뭐야? 고용하고 바로 밑에 줄에 해고인데? 대인관계 갈등 해결하기. 이것도 전작에 이거 한글화 안 돼 있었는데 한국어가. 당신의 꿈은 무엇인가요? 초월자? 혼수 상태? 저게 왜 꿈이야? 해고당하지 않는 꿀팁. 말 적게 하기. 아씨. 승진이나 인정받을 기대하지 말고 믿을 수 없을 만큼 매일 엄청난 일 해내기. 대박. 동료와의 분쟁 해결하는 방법. 속으로 욕하고 다니기. 공격성 드러내기. 원망하기. 띠용. 뭐 하는 회사길래 이런. 이건 뭐야? 이익 예언 이게 뭐야? (402) 405번이 일정표 초안에서 죽음의 스포츠를 빼면 좋겠다고 함. 근데 난 그게 멍청한 아이디어인 것 같음. 굿. 10대 통계를 어필하려면 차트가 더 힙해야 함. 역시 로컬라이즈 잘 됐네. 아주 번역이 잘 됐네요. 청소도구함. 여기 좀 근데 열리네. 여기가
Stanley stepped into the
원래
broom
전작에서
closet,
요
but there
가만히
was
있으면
nothing
청소도구함
here, so he turned
엔딩이라고
around and got back on track.
내레이션이 막 난리 부르스 치는 거 있어. 가만히 앉아 있는 거야. 난 여기가 좋아. 지금 약간 내 방음
There was
부스
nothing
같은데?
here. No choice to make,
익숙한데?
no path to follow, just an empty broom closet.
여기를
No
문이라고
reason to still be
하면은
here.
지금 여기 책상이 이렇게 있고 여기 컴퓨터 있고 여기는 방송컴? 여기는 송출컴,
It was baffling
그리고
that Stanley was
이쪽에는
still just
노트북,
sitting in the broom closet.
위에
He
에어컨 이렇게
wasn't
돼
even
있어요.
doing
제
anything.
방음 부스.
At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
아 근데 처음부터 청소도구만 보고 싶진 않다.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs
올라갈게요.
to his boss's office.
근데 전작이랑 너무 똑같은데? 아니 이거 왜 근데 돈을 그렇게 많이 받았지? 오 너무 뭐가 더 엔딩이 많아졌겠지? 사장의 화장실. 제가 전작을 했다 보니까 여러분들한테 자꾸 수시로 스포하는 것 같은데. 와? 에이! 오면 귀 막던가. 부자가 되는 건 범죄인가? 범죄를 저지르는 건 부자 아닌가? 하나만 고를 수 있는 삶이면 얼마나 좋을까요? 뭔 개소리지? 아니, 한 패는 다른 이제 유저 한 패고 공식이 아니라 게임이 새로 나왔어요. 근데 약간 확장팩 느낌이라는데 가격이 좀 됐거든요. 얼마인지 모르겠는데 최초에는 50% 할인해서 사실 엄청 비싼 건 아니었는데 지금은 좀 비쌀걸?
Stepping into his manager's office,
약간-
Stanley was once again
약간
stunned
근데
to
선명해진
discover
것
what
같긴
an
한데
indication
아닌가?
of any
좀
human
기분
life.
탓인가 그냥?
Shocked,
전작보다 좀
unraveled, Stanley
그래픽
wondered
좀
in
선명해진
disbelief
것 같긴 한데.
who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held
총파밍을
from
여기서
him?
어떻게 해? 그런 게임
What he could not have
아닙니다.
known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been
아,
keeping
지금
from
26,000원이야?
him. And so the boss had assigned it
지금까지는
an extra
26,000원 잘
secret
모르겠는데.
pin number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
7? 다시 안 가르쳐줘?
Stanley just sat around
했어요,
twiddling,
했어요.
yet incredibly, by simply
했어요.
pushing random buttons on the
어머
keypad.
어머 어머 어머
Stanley
어머
happened to
어머
input
원래
the
이러
correct
원래 이렇게
code.
어두웠나?
Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened
씨.
passageway.
무서워. 했던 건데 무서워. 안 보여. 안 보여요. 죄송합니다. 이거 다시 늘려주세요. 이거 비디오. 잠깐만. 빛이 어디 갔지? 얼레리? 그거 1트예요? 더 이상 없는 거였어? 좆됐다. 밝기 이거 1트였나봐. 어머. 눈 침침해. 오우씨. 근데 여기가 이렇게 어두웠나? 이게 26,000원인가? 귀신 안 나온다잖아. 무슨 귀신이 나와. 이거 근데 깜놀하는 구간이 있긴 해.
Descending deeper into the
나 거기서
building,
진짜 놀랐었는데.
Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
다른
It
사람들
was a
뭐
stirring of emotion
엄청
in
놀랄
his
정도는 아닌데
chest,
나는
as though he
무서워서
felt
난
more
놀랐어.
free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
누가 봐도 일로 가라고 돼 있죠. 일단은 정석으로.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed
Wow.
with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold?
정석 완전
He thought to
똑같다고요?
himself. Did he have the strength?
근데
to
정석도
find out?
한번 가야지 그 뭐 되지 않나? 한번 가야 그 다음이 또 이제 루트가 바뀌지 않나? 뭔데? 이거 가야 되는구나. 안녕하십니까.
Now the monitors jumped to life,
Wow.
their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's
Wow.
co-workers. The lives
뭐요?
of so many individuals
널
reduced to
감시하고 있어.
images on a screen, and
난
Stanley,
모든 구울들을
one of them,
통제하고 있다.
eternally monitored in
난
this
구울을
place
지배할 수
where
있다.
freedom meant nothing. This mind
너무 좋아요?
control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't
무서워.
be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had
내보내줘.
been manipulated to
아, 너무
accept it
무서워.
blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone
안녕하십니까.
else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it?
난 아무한테도
Was it even
조종당하지
possible?
않아.
Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls
집의
labeled
상태.
with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it
거의 한글
monitored
패치를
and
26,000
commanded from
주고
this
산
very
기분이네.
place.
한 패가 근데
And as
퀄리티가
the cold
좋다.
reality of
이런
his
거
past
너무 잘 돼
began to
있다.
sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life.
폰트도 좀
For
신경
he
썼네.
would dismantle the
깔끔하다.
controls once and for
폰트 보통
all.
그냥 이 명조 같은 거 막 엄한 거야 아무거나 갖다 쓰는데 좀 약간 깔끔하네 고딕으로. 온!
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years
게임은
ago, you
뻑하면 안
tried to take
보여.
control of the
아이씨,
machine for yourself.
뻑하면
Is that
아무것도 안
what you
보여.
wanted?
어머
Control?
어머.
Stanley,
뭘 지배 시스템
I
로딩 줘?
applaud your
오히려
effort, I
좋아.
really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off.
왜 여기만
and
눌리지?
leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I
안
believe
할래.
you'll find this
나 나갈래.
pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating...
아니 왜 이렇게 어두워? 아니 정신 나가겠네. 아니 원래 이렇게 어두웠나? 아니 왜 이렇게 어둡지? 아 이거 전작이 아니랬던 것 같은데 이게 좀 어두워졌다. 어머. 불 켜졌네.
It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now.
가슴이 시키는
Shape
대로?
it to your heart's
이거
desires. Oh, this is much better than what
이거
I had in
내
mind.
기억에는
What a
의미
shame we
없는데?
have so little time left to enjoy.
의미가 생겼나?
Mere
이번
moments
작에서는?
until the bomb goes
오.
off. But what precious moments each one of them
오
is.
숫자가
More time to
1, 2, 3,
talk
4, 5
about
눌러야겠죠?
you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are?
안 궁금해.
A moment of solace before
난
you're
원래 동료
obliterated.
없었어.
All right, I'm in a
밥도
good
혼자
mood.
먹는다고.
You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what
몇
happened to
번이지?
them. I
3번.
erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
아니
Other
4번
times,
어딨어?
I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense
5번은
of
저긴데
everything
4번은
and take
어딨지?
back the control wrested away from you.
아이씨 좀 자막 볼 시간이 없어요. 어머.
But I'm sure
아니 4번
whatever I
어딨어요?
come up with on the next go
이상하다.
around will be even better. My goodness, only
5번.
34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know
야 이거
what?
일부러 없앴지.
I'm going to put
씨
some
일부러 없는
extra
거지
time
이거.
on the clock right now.
일부러 4번 찾게 만드는 것
These
같은데?
are precious
아
additional
여기 있을래 나
seconds.
무서워.
Time doesn't grow on trees.
뭐야?
Oh dear me,
이거 좀
what's the
깨네.
matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room.
야
These
죽을래.
numbered buttons. No,
빨리 터트려줘.
these colored
아이씨
buttons.
아직도
Or
1분
maybe this
20초
big
동안
red
이
button.
아저씨 하는
Or
말을
this
듣고 있어야 돼?
door. Everything, anything, something here will save me.
아니야 나 죽을래.
Think that, Stanley?
구울 없는 세상 살아 뭐해. 네가 다 삭제했다며.
One soul?
나 죽을래.
Do you have
울
any
따라갈래.
idea what your purpose in this place is?
죽여줘.
Stanley,
어우 씨발.
you're
뭐야
in
이거.
for quite a disappointment.
아무렇게나 눌러 전력을
But here's a
전송하지.
spoiler. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless, to see you made humble. This is not
자동
challenge.
안전장치? 나
It's a
이거 지능으로
tragedy.
봤네.
You wanted to control this
지능
world, that's
안전장치인 줄.
fine. But I'm going to destroy it first.
어머. 아 씨발 깜짝이야.
Take a look
깜짝이야.
at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds.
안녕히
you have
직원번호
left to struggle.
427.
30 seconds
난가?
until a big boom and then nothing. No
내가
ending.
427인가?
Just you being blown to pieces.
간다.
Desperately to your frail life.
나 떠난다.
Or will you
안녕.
peacefully? Another choice.
이발 이모탈을 하는 게 아니었는데 이모탈을 하고 내 인생이
It's all the
망했다.
same to me. All a
블리자드
part of it.
책임져.
And believe me,
나 죽어.
laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever up.
난가?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
아까 열려 있었나? 아닌가? 열려 있었나? 이번 생에는 이모탈을 켜지 말자.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room. And
아 이거 근데
Stanley knew
너무
it perfectly
똑같은데.
well. Perhaps he wanted to
뭐야
stop by
엔딩
the
갈래만
employee
좀
lounge
추가된 건가?
first,
좀,
just to
나
admire.
완전 좀 새로운 거 기대했는데
Yes, truly a
똑같은데?
room worth admiring. It had
한
really
패밖에
been
볼
worth
만한
the
게
detour
없네.
after all.
진짜 다른
Just
걸
to spend a few
모르겠어요.
moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley
이번
simply stood
작은
here,
돈 주고 산
drinking
것도
it all
아닌
in.
유저 한 패가 캐리하는데 여기도 가만히 있으면 뭐 있는데 궁금하면 여러분들이 해보시고요.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
와 잘러 제발 잘러. 화물 승강기에서 뛰어내릴 시 5,000달러. 병원비가 5,000달러란 뜻인가? 승강기가 움직이는 동안 뛰지 마십시오. 저 픽토그램 왜 이렇게 웃기지? 그림자
Look,
복구가
Stanley,
뭔데
I think
씹더가
perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot
얘기도.
here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
점프
I
없어요.
realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult.
아 이거 근데
but
아
the
이거
fact is
내가
that the
거의
story has
아니
been
이거
about
전작을 다
nothing
알다
but
보니까
you
사실
all
아
this
여기도
time.
아 여기 갈 수
There's
있거든요.
someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Really? I was in
아,
the middle of
재미없어.
something to have zero consideration for others.
왜 이렇게 다른 게
Are you
없지?
that convinced that I want
다른
something
길이 또
bad
있나?
to happen to you? Why? I don't know how to convince you of this, but I
뭐가
really
달라진
do
거지?
want to help you.
아까
to
시간
show you
입력한 건
something
뭔데?
beautiful. Look, let me prove it.
아니
Let
밖이라도
me prove that
어둡던가.
I'm on your
새벽
side.
12시인데
Give me a chance.
여기라도 열리던가. 요 뭐야? 아씨 뭐가 추가된 거지? 뭐 하다 보면 뭐가 있겠죠? 아 초반부는 좀 많이 실망스럽네요. 너무 똑같아서.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
레드. 아 이것도 반응을 다 알아. 아 난 모른다. 난 모른다. 어머!
Perhaps you misunderstood.
어머 제자리로 돌아왔어.
Stanley
어떡해?
walked through the red door.
에잇!
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked.
싫어!
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley.
고맙습니다.
You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this
네.
road you've chosen? Well, don't
네.
let me stop you.
예.
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this
다
section of the
만들지도
map
않았어요?
because you
야,
weren't supposed to be
씨!
here in the
몇 년
first
전
place.
게임인데
Broken
그동안 뭐
rooms,
했냐?
exposed developer
아직도
textures.
덜
Is this
만들었어?
what you had wanted?
야, 씨, 몇
Was
년
it
전에
worth ruining the entire story I'd
7년
written out
전인가? 야,
specifically
몇 년
for
전에
you?
했을 때도 그때도 미완성이라 그랬는데 몇 년 동안 아직도 미완성이야?
And in the end it was all for nothing because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles?
탈 것?
Skill trees?
머리가
Work with me.
탈
You
것.
gave me absolutely
씨발, 뭔가
nothing
기억날 것
so
같아.
far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stan. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be
당신의
honest.
경험에 대한
I'm
평가를
looking for some
남겨주세요.
real
별점
critical
테러야.
feedback here.
1점, 씨발.
Oh,
1점,
one?
1점.
I mean, I can understand if you had
아가리.
reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a one? That's not even helpful. What am I
안 주게
supposed to do
생겼냐?
with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
줘봐. 더 스탠리패러블. 뭐가 달라졌는데? 뭐야, 이 통계네? 뭐야? 진짜 실제 플레이어인가? 알고 계셨나요? 플레이어 중 21%만이 인트로를 스킵했다는 것을. 최악의 3%만 파란 문을 선택했다? 그럴 리가 없는데? 이 게임 파란 문 선택하는 게임인데? 나네? 스탠리 427. 왜 7시간 37분이나 돼있지? 전작까지 포함인가? 근데 나 전작을 7시간까지 안 했는데? 그냥 막 적은 건가? 뭐지? 그냥 지 맘대로 적었나? 이거 진짜 아닌가 보다. 당신보다 우수한 플레이어? 이거 막 적은 거네. 나를 바보 취급을 해.
Now, would you say that competitive
이게 다야?
leaderboard
야!
makes you feel motivated
더
to
좋은
keep
경험.
walking
야,
through
1점.
doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
당장 내가.
Perfect. Let me boot it up.
아무것도 없는데.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the
이거
right.
되게 소리 듣기
And if he
싫은데.
reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting
나
the
아기,
demands
아기.
of family life. I think the
살려줘.
art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective?
4시간
Be
켜만
sure to
갑니다.
keep notes on your experience.
이거 듣기 싫어서라도 진짜 보내고 싶다. 이거 어떻게 4시간 동안 듣고 있어, 이 소리를. 자기 길냥이 짝짓기 하는 소리 듣는 게 낫겠다. 죽어! 죽이시오!
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter,
원래
well,
불
I don't know
탔던
what to
같은데?
do. I'm
불 안
completely
타지?
out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain.
여기서 혹시 새로운 거 나온 거 아닐까?
What do we have here?
혹시? 예전에는 여기 마크 그래픽도 좀 별로였거든요. 마크 RTX 그래픽으로 나오는 거 아니야? 약간 기대해볼 만한데? RTX 마크 나왔잖아. 가자 마크 그래픽이 좀 안 좋았어. 이거 다 막 스포가 입에서 술술 나오네. 근데 여기 거의 이거 산불 끄는 게임 아니에요? 이거 뭐야? 달라지긴 했네.
But it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of
근데 이
twisted
게임 안 해봤어.
erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
네. 갑자기 흥미가 막 흥미진진하네요. 갑자기 재밌어. 뭐 더 없나? 오, 너무 좋아. 상쾌해. 나한텐 여기가 현실이야. 최고야. 너무 좋아. 사이버 등산 너무 좋아. 이 게임 또 해보고 싶은데? 근데 이 게임은 막상 하면 좀 졸릴 듯? 야생동물 나오는 거 아니지? 너무 무서운데? 도끼 같은 거 없나?
Oh no. No.
왜? 보내지 마. 나 더 할래. 슬슬.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
대박. 씨발 그럼 그렇지.
Goodness, Stanley, what a close call. You really wandered off into that thing, that big open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any.
기대한 게 잘못이지.
Thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game.
여기 틈이 있어.
Preferably something with rules. Something with nice.
내보내줘. 더 하고 싶어. 나 더 할래.
Okay.
나 좌클릭하면 왜 자꾸 키보드 소리가 나냐 근데? 효과음이 왜 나오지? 우와, 이건 또 뭐야?
Wonderful.
이거 그거 아니야? 로켓 어쩌고 아니야? 아닌가? 태극기 뭔데? 이거 한패 팀에서 넣은 거예요? 아니면은 그냥 망국기라서 있는 건가? 각극기 있는데?
Game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
아니 근데 이게 사람 몸으로 뛰는 게임이 아닐 텐데?
Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports?
나 이거 고라니 당하는 거 아니야?
I think it's
잠깐만.
sports ball.
나 산짐승 당할 것 같은데?
We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
어머. 아니 이걸 루시오 볼 아니야 이거? 야 빨라졌어. 루시오인데 이거 완전 루시오인데? 오버워치 2 기념인가?
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on?
근데 점프가 없어서 재미없어요.
I have a thought.
점프 좀 넣어주세요.
I'm not a sportsologist, but if
점프가
one
없으니까
ball
드리블이 안
generates
되잖아.
a certain amount of raw adrenaline
가자!
pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience. I'm going to try another ball. Yes.
이게 다야?
Oh goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls.
어머, 씨발 뭐야 이거? 누가 이렇게 공을 던져? 재미없어! 씨발 축구로 나 혼자 하고 있잖아.
Is this a real video
재미없어.
game? Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's over. That's right. Your little fun comes to an end. This is my game, and what I say goes. You get to have fun when I let you, Stanley. Besides, you need someone like me to set boundaries for
맞네.
you,
여기 떨어질 수 있나?
without rules or boundaries. Hold on.
뭐야?
What are you doing?
어머.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me?
다음 게임도 해보고 싶은데. 괜히 떨어졌다. 아, 이게 떨어진 게 정석인가? 아니면 다른 게임도 할 수 있나? 무서워요. 아니 왜 자꾸 떨어져? 아씨, 모니터로 보는데 자꾸 떨어지는 느낌이 나요. 키 크는 꿈. 무서워. 왜 이렇게 어두워? 아씨, 뭐 나오는 거 아니지? 무서워. 씨. 총 줘. 총 줘. 총이라도 쏘게. 아니 근데 왜 좌클릭이 자꾸 키보드 타건 소리가 왜 들리지? 이것도 뭐 심오한 뜻이 있나? 사실 스탠리는 모니터 앞에서 앉아서 게임하는 거였습니다. 뭐 이런 거 아니야? 왜 자꾸 키보드 소리가 나지? 이 게임은 클리어라는 게 없어요. 엔딩은 있긴 한데 이게 뭐야? 잠깐만. 길이 어디지?
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
뭐야? 뭔데? 어쩌라고? 네, 재밌었습니다. 3회차 인생 갑시다.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting
일단
room. Perhaps he had
게임은
simply
좀
missed a memo.
신선했네요. 근데 뒤에 게임이 더 있나? 그게 좀 마크 RTX 이런 거 나오면 진짜 오 마이 갓! 26,000원 보여주나? 지금 한 3,000원치 먹었거든요.
Oh, new content? What does that mean?
어머.
New content.
슬슬 재밌는데? 여기 막혔네. 이게 다르긴 다르네. 내가 초반에 불평한 게 너무 이른 불평이었네요. 이거 처음에만 그 전작 그대로 하고 너무 좋은데? 밝기만 좀 돌아왔으면 좋겠다. 씨발, 소리 왜 이래?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in
13년 출시야?
2013
진짜
on
오래됐다,
home
게임.
computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the
한국어가 잘
Stanley
된 거봐.
Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
뭐 테마파크야?
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
테마파크 온 거 같네. 이거 VR로 하면 재밌겠다.
Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable.
너무 기대돼요. 또 이지랄 해놓고
Oh,
끝에
well,
가서는
this
앞찾기로
sounds
깔아뭉개는 거 아니야?
I'm very excited to see the thrilling new ultra deluxe content.
근데 전작에도 그 깜놀이라고 할 만한 게 하나 있었거든요. 나 그거 너무 무서웠어. 깜짝 놀랐어. 그런 거 있을까봐 약간 좀 그런 거 없었으면 좋겠다. 무서워.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing
뭔데? 뭐야? 왜 이렇게 설레발이야? 아 씨발 이거 좀비 오는 거 레포대 아니야? 이 느낌이 약간 레포대인데? 레포대 안전가옥 같은데?
Should we be moving somewhere? Oh, here we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new.
여기도 문이네. 어떻게?
Ready. Let's do it.
무서워. 아 씨발 너 무서워. 나 바닥 보고 있을래.
I have to say, initial impressions of 스탠리패러블 Ultra Deluxe mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. 아니,
네가 보여줘야 되는 거 아니었어? 너도 몰라? 내레이션이 왜 나한테 보여달래? 오! 점프가 게임!
Alright, let's see it.
예! 귀한 거네. 아니 이게 컨텐츠라고 넣은 거야? 점프? 아 재밌다. 줄넘기인가? 아니 뭐야? 사이버 PT야? (1점) 어딨어? 1점.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what causes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The 스탠리패러블
26,000원이면은 지금이 26,000원이란 거죠. 50% 할인 없이. 50% 할인해서 13,000원에 샀으면은 사실 이모탈로 따지면은 이모탈 계산법으로는 전설 문장 5개 값도 안 돼요. 진짜 해자 게임. 이모탈 계산법으로는 해자 게임. 전설 문장 5개? 그 균열 돌 때 10개 넣을 수 있는데 고작 5개?
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stan, this is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, test achievement, please ignore. What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable.
아이 블리자드가 생각난다니요. 블리자드는 그렇지
I built
않습니다.
up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to
이모탈
what the
재밌었는데
Stanley
만렙
Parable
이후
is really
컨텐츠 좀
about.
별로긴 하더라. 오늘 클랜전도 했거든요.
No gimmicks.
좀
Just
별로야.
you and me having a great time
만렙 이후는
together
좀
like
별로야.
always.
그 전까지는 근데 재밌음.
What do you say?
무과금으로 하는 게 진짜 최고야. 과금 넣으면 안 돼 이모탈은. 그냥 배틀 패스 정도만 사고. 끝이야? 뭐야 다르네? 게임 완전 다르다. 진짜 초반만 똑같네. 야 액자에 들어있네 이게? 처음 나오면은 보이는 장소가?
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to
내레이션
show
나오나
you
혹시?
something.
아 놀래라. 난 내레이션 얼굴 나온 줄 알았네. 싫어요. 가볼까? 어떡하지? 아이씨. 어떡하지? 어떡해! 아이씨 어디로 가지? 이거 나가면 문 닫을 것 같은데? 가보자! 이게 더 궁금해. 무섭다 근데. 커피에 미치다? 왜
Okay,
마인크래프트
you
같지?
remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new ultra deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got
Yeah.
me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's
Oh,
developers
뭐야?
won't find it. Just our
디아블로인가?
little secret. Take a look.
Take a look. 오 뭐야?
I call it
Whoa.
the memory zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories
뭐야?
so I can relive
어이,
the peak
뭐지?
experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
추억의 공간. 헉! 야, 이거 폰트 되게 신경 썼다. 어머 분위기 너무 좋은데 휴양 온 것 같아.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory
아,
zone remind you of how
2014.
wonderful Stanley Parable
좀
was
틀딱 같다.
before it was sullied
아,
with a cheap
청춘이요, 이런 느낌인데.
re-release? Remember back in October of 2013?
13년 10월 게임이 처음 발매됐던 때가
Back then,
기억나나요?
video
저
games
그때
had integrity.
군대
Back
있었는데
then,
춘천에
it all
있었는데
meant something. Oh, the waste.
기억이 안 나네요. 화물. 모임. 포토존인가? 인스타? 어? 잊지 말도록. 분위기 좋은데? 과거를 회상하는 추억 여행. 내레이션 너무 틀이다. 김밥 한 줄 놓고 갑니다. 총총총. 데모. 박물관 같다. 옛날에도 전작에도 박물관 같은 게 있었는데 좀 그런 느낌이네. 이거 뭐 실제로 뭘 받은 거야? 아니면은 그랬으면 좋겠다야 뭐야? 받은 건가? 뉴욕 타임스 새로운 비디오 게임 오늘 발매되다. 놀랍도록 현실적인 개발진들. 아니 뭐 13년도 신문인데 왜 이렇게 50년은 돼 보이지? 13년이 그렇게 옛날인가? 와우. 그거 같다. 캡틴 아메리카 앉아있을 것 같아. 뭐야? 누구까지? 씨발 이게 뭐지? 이거 방이 더 있구나.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from
뭐가 뭐예요?
Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every
그 어떤
game
리뷰도
ever
읽지 마세요. 이
created.
리뷰만
Did you hear
빼고요.
that, Stanley?
아저씨 좀 조용해봐요. 나 이거
Every
읽어보게.
game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original
이거
Stanley
트위치에
Parable
있는 그
was.
이모티콘
It
아니야?
was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour
정신없어.
of new
내레이션
elevator
목소리도
content.
들어야 되고 이것도 읽고 싶고 됐다. 끝났다. 여러분은 스탠리 패러블 같은 게임을 어떻게 리뷰하시나요? 게임의 어떤 부분을 묘사하는 건 게임 자체의 파멸을 감수하는 것입니다. 게임 디자인, 선택의 환상, 그리고 게이머들의 심리에 대해 말할 것을 자세하게 설명하는 것은 당신에게 너무 많은 걸 말하는지도 모릅니다. 비교하기엔 너무 비참할 정도로 부적절합니다. 이것과 저저저 뭐 재미없네 리뷰가. 난 리뷰 좀 약간 통쾌한 리뷰, 이 게임 쓰레기야 뭐 이런 거 기대했는데 뭐 별 내용 없네. 너무 좀 진지한데? 오리지널 리메이크.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The
진짜
Stanley
리뷰인 거야?
Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in
당신의
games
선택에 대한
and one that
반응성과 기대를
offers some of
완전히
the most
뒤집어버리고
enjoyable,
정신을 바짝 차리게
surprising and
만듦으로써
rewarding
살아있음을
choices
느끼게 한다.
I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
어머. 오 깜짝이야. 여기 뭐 지나갈 수가 없는데 문은 왜 열어? 진지한 방? 이건 진지한 게 아니었어? 이거 어떻게 들어가? 문 왜 열어준 거야? 뭐임? 퍼즐인가? 아니 무슨 버니압이야.
These were simpler times.
아야 저
Stanley,
들어가 보고 싶어.
but I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over
아니
again.
이거 왜 열어줬냐고. 아니 들어갈 수 있는 거 아니야? 뭐가 있나 트리거가? 망겜! 눈으로 보라는 건가? 무서워. 절대로 끝나지 않는다. 절대로 끝은 절대로 끝나지 않는다. 또 음침한 데가 있네.
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in
평론가랑
years. I
다르구나.
can't even imagine what's been collected down here.
스팀
Surely
평가.
these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
그래서 이렇게 누추하구나. 나도 한 줄 쓸 걸 그랬네. 비추천 기록상 2.9시간 18년 6월 실제인가? 나레이터는 혐오스러운데다 재미도 없고 짜증만 난다.
I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical
저기 성지순례 중이라고?
I can't even imagine where I'd have the room
진짜
to
있는
stick
거구나.
them.
좋네. 또 어떤 쓰레기 같은 리뷰가 있는지 보러 갈까요? 나레이터 노잼.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You
조금
can tell me if I'm preachy.
설교
Honestly,
아니
you
그렇긴
can.
해요.
Oh, goodness.
아니
This is
아저씨
actually quite shocking for
조금
me.
너무
I always, well, to be
인생을
honest, I have
다한다듯이 뭔가
always thought of the
설교하는
game's
느낌이긴
dialogue
했어요.
as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as
뒤에
light and
추천
airy
리뷰도
as it...
있네.
Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure, like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly stop
2014년.
doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded
그
explanations
잘난체
of
하는
what's
듯한
happened.
목소리가 계속
I wish there
중얼거리는
was a
것을
skip
듣는
button.
것은 그닥 즐겁지 않네요.
A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable.
어떡해! 뭐야?
Always been my
오, 뭐야?
I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
뒤가 없어졌어요.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past
아니에요.
it.
난
It's
아저씨
what the
얘기하는 거
players have
좋아요.
been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness,
예.
that's what they're going to get.
좀 많이
Well,
기분
don't
많이
sit around waiting for
상하셨네.
me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up.
아니,
Here,
아니,
we'll
아니, 왜
pretend
나한테
I've
그래요?
just begun
아씨, 난
an
리뷰 안
interminable
썼어.
monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is. So on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of...
야!
Well, there's...
스킵이라며!
You really did catch me
아이,
rambling a
잠깐만.
bit, didn't... But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is
이제
becoming
문도
longer
사라졌네?
and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's...
아니 이거
well,
그냥
there's
스킵
really
안
only so
하면은
much I can ramble
진짜
on
얘기를
myself.
끝도 없이 하나?
I know, it's shocking, isn't it?
어디까지 할
But
수 있는
anyway,
거지 얘기를?
I do suggest that we not
아유
press the
시간이
button here.
가는구나.
I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it. And wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go?
그러게 아니 문이
Wasn't there a
없어.
door that led into this room?
네가 알지 내가 어떻게 알아?
I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button to go anywhere
안
other
누를게요.
than the skip button. There was a door here before.
또
wasn't
어디까지
there?
얘기하나 보자.
I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall?
아이씨,
Is there
진짜
any
어디까지
possibility
있는
that
거지
you could
얘기가?
say,
좀
slam
궁금하긴
your body
하다.
into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me
아니, 저
here.
점프도 없는 게임에서
we
몸통 박치기를
need a
어떻게
door.
해?
We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for
아이
just a
떠나네.
moment. I'm
아이
going to try to find us
아이
a door.
자리 비우네.
I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way. I
사실
promise.
본인도 말하기
You
힘들죠?
just need to not do anything.
본인도 더
Don't
말하기 힘들죠?
press the skip button. Please, please, please do not press the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't
이렇게 말하기가
press
누르기
the
좀
skip
그렇다.
button. Got it? Yes, good. I'll be right back.
이 천장 또 전작의 그 엔딩 중에 하나 이거 그 있는데. 아저씨 돌아온다 하셨는데. 아니 온다고 했는데. 어떡하지? 진짜 올까? 돌면서 생각하자. 어지러워. 이 정도면 많이 기다린 것 같은데. 유기당하는 구울의 기분을 느껴보아요. 뭐래? 스킵!
Stanley!
아,
Stanley!
아니.
Stanley, please don't
아,
push the button again. It's been
12시간?
12 hours! You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every
나
angle.
무서워.
I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit.
에이씨!
Oh, Stanley.
어떡해?
You're back. You're back. Oh my goodness. I have someone
뭐야?
to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week.
일주일? 아씨 나 또 씨발 10년 20년 지난 줄 알았는데 목소리가 늙었길래.
Just sitting
아씨.
here, not a single person to speak with.
목소리가
And you'd think
난
that
그건 줄
that's just
알았어.
how it's always been, right?
그 인터스텔라 같은 데서 막 수십 년 지나고 돌아온 그런 느낌인 줄
Would
알았어.
you think
깜짝이야.
that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley.
이번에
It
내가
isn't the same at
누르면은
all.
진짜
It isn't
1년
even
지나겠다.
close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm
좀
realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn the
안돼!
story to the
불사르지 마.
ground. What?
불도 안 켜져 이제.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to
얼마나
think
지났어,
about
이제?
you and about us and about everything
날짜도 안
we've been
나와서.
through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever
시간
sat
뭐
down in one place
몇만
and
년
not moved
버튼
for
이렇게
one
되는 거 아니야?
entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is
나레이션 혼자
only
여기
the
있었나
turning wheel
봐.
of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley.
네가 나한테
Days,
협박을 하니까.
months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant.
아니
In that
목소리에 힘이
instant,
남아
I
도는데?
could see myself clearly, calmly, with
아직 힘이 쌩쌩한데? 맛이 어때? 아저씨? 아저씨? 아저씨 거기 있어요? 아저씨 몇 년이 지난 거야? 뭐지? 이건 알람 울리는 시계가 아니잖아. 무서워! 뭐 소리가 들려요. 끼익 하는 소리 들렸는데? 뭔데? 알람 소리 뭐지? 이건가? 이건가 본데? 뭐 화재 경보기 아니야? 아니 지금 한 번 누를 때마다 수년씩 지나가는데 또 누르면은
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned. They screamed. They gnashed their teeth and said, "Entertain us." It wasn't enough. They had.
이봐, 난 죽은 줄 알았네. 약간 좀 누추해졌는데? 저기 전선이 원래 나와 있었나? 뭐가 자꾸 들려? 물이 새네? 이거 갑자기 포탈2 되는 거 아니에요? 포탈2 그 실험실 처음에 시작할 때 시간 많이 지나가지고 에잇!
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end,
안 무서워.
is never the end, is never the
노제.
end, is never the 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 end.
물이 좀 많이 떨어지는데 이제. 아저씨 여기 누수 여기 기사님 불러줘요. 나무 저기 물 밑에 갖다 넣어. 에휴! 야 이거 완전 포탈인데 느낌이? 비주얼이 완전 포탈인데? 아저씨 아무것도 안 보여. 바람 소리 들리는데. 야, 한 번 더 누르기 무섭다. 뭐 자꾸 뭐 환경음이 자꾸 들려. 아씨. 벌레 소리. 나 진짜 벌레 아니지? 씨, 여름이라 날벌레가 많아. 에잇! 지랄은 식물원 다 됐네. 무서워. 깜짝이야. 씨발. 스킵. 스킵이 안 돼. 스킵. 씨발. 씨발 무서워 죽겠네. 뭐지? 검은 사방인가? 스킵 버튼 지금도 있나? 난 누워있었잖아. 불 안 들어왔지? 스킵 안 되나 보네. 난 자유야. 스탠리는 드디어 탈출에 성공했답니다. 몇 년이 흐른지도 모르겠지만 지구는 망했네요. 족간 새끼들. 근데 망할 줄 알았지. 야 오랜만에 돌아온다. 몇 회차죠? 지금 5회차인가 이게? 4회차가 조금 길었네. 4회차 인생이. 아주 볼거리가 많았습니다. 아저씨 혹시 아저씨 살아계시나?
All of his co-workers were gone.
돌아왔네.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
다음은 또 뭐가 숨겨져 있을까요? 방금 본 것만 해도 되게 많았는데 또 뭐가 있지? 이건 아까 봤던 거잖아. 아까 내가 봤던 거에서 내가 길을 안 들어간 길이 있었나 여기서? 이게 원래 있었나 이 네온 사인? 이거 가면 한번 가볼까? 아니 근데 여기 가면 분명히 문 닫히거든요. 여기는 문 선택하라고. 근데 여기도 뭐가 또 있을 텐데. 너무 많다. 씨 방송 못하는 거 아니야?
You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
아저씨 혹시 스킵 버튼이 있어요? 나 요 앞 구간 봤는데 왜 이럴 때 필요한데 스킵 없나?
You see, Stanley,
테마파크
I've
구간
been
없네?
reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
와 뭐야? 와 이거 뭐야?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover.
정확하게 내 속마음을 읽었네. 쥐꼬리만큼 추가해서 새로 된 줄 알았는데.
Why there are so many possibilities? It could go in
아저씨 말
so
그대로요.
many
그렇게
different
생각했었어요.
directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
오, 이래놓고 사실 별거 없을 거잖아. 아니야? 뭐 있는 척하네. 투자자 쇼케이스.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think?
후속작을
Ultra
맛보세요.
Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
뭐야 이거 맥 가려놨네. 이거 맥 아니에요? 로고 가려놨네. 굉장히 분위기 좋네요. 인텔리하네 좀. 뭐야? 웬새? 그들이 돌아왔다. 두 개의 문. 빨간 문, 파란 문이야? 더 많은 스탠리 패러블, 더 좋은 스탠리 패러블. 업무 환경이 굉장히 좋네요. 현대적이고 좋다.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
누가 내 빨간 펜 가져감? 나. 귀엽네. 투. 사방이 투네. 2. 이쪽이 무대입니다. 와우. 와우. 왜 못 앉아? 버스 뭐야? 레드 카페 뭔데? 와우. 호.
Here we are. Go
Oh.
on, try out some of the new features.
아니 근데 스탠리 패러블 2는 뭔데? 이게 뭐 하는 건데 이거? 이거 뭐 유료 구매예요? 사무실 장식, 양동이, 플레이어의 이름을 말하는 버튼, 독점, 게임을 플레이하는 플레이어의 이름을 말하는 버튼. 뭔 내 이름 뭐야 저거? 무서워. 움직이나? 돌아가네? 무서워.
For the Stanleyparable 2,
나 저거 못 봤는데.
what do
왜?
players really want?
아니 왜 씨발 하나밖에
Of
못
course,
하게?
the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
너무 놀랍네요. 완다뿔. 이름.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game,
아니,
this
우리나라에
button will say
짐이라는 성은
your name,
없는 이름
whatever name
없는데.
that is. Here, let's have you roleplay as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person
아니
named Jim.
아이씨 야 내
I
이름을
want
말해야지.
you to
내가
imagine
이름에 맞추면
yourself
어떡해?
living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
나 맞아. 나 박짐래. Jim.
Yes, you see? What a thrill! That was you! The button described you. Do it again, do it again. Jim. It hits even harder the
이게
second
콘텐츠
time.
끝이야?
If this were the only new feature in the Stanleyparable 2, it would still be worth the
돈
money.
값어치는
Let's take a
했겠죠?
break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Jim.
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Jim. 뽕 뽑았다. 이게 다야? 열어주네. 아까 그거 거대한 동상 같은 거 보러 가자. 뭐 열리는 문이 없어.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanleyparable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
포토존이에요. 사진 찍어주세요. 김치. 스크린샷 금지? 찍을 건데? 프린터 스크린 누를 건데? 뭔 소리야? 레이트레이싱 된 더 많은 같지만 다른 좋은 느낌의 후속작. 레이트레이싱이 적용된 거야? F12? F12라고 나와 있어요? F12 눌러볼까? 스팀 게임이 다 F12인 건가? 컬렉터블. 와우. 스탠리야? 잘생겼네. 스탠리 얼굴은 처음 보네. 공짜로 새롭고 쉬운 도전 과제 얻기. 그냥 바로 달성돼요. 이렇게 간단하다니 믿어지지 않아요. 저거 위에 더 스탠리 패러블 2 왜 이렇게 서든어택 2 같지? 아예 서든어택 2랑 똑같은데? 색깔이랑 폰트랑 느낌이 너무 서든어택 2인데? 대박. 아 스탠리 얼굴 봤던 것 같기도 하고 본 얼굴 같기도 하고. 정면을 봤었나? 공짜 도전과제 지금 당장 달성해가세요. 레버를 당기세요. 이상 절차는 없습니다. 와 신난다.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well,
아니요.
I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
와, 뭐 이렇게 거창해? 아니 뭐 이렇게 거창한.
Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken.
와,
I'm not
공짜
a wizard,
도전과제?
Stanley,
도전
but
과제는
I
원래
guarantee it
공짜잖아.
will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
고쳐줘. 아유 순 깡통밖에 없어. 나레이션이 제일 깡통이야. 도전 과제도 없네.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
아, 나의 위대한 모습을 봐라. 찜. 찾을 수 있을까요? Collect them all.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a
Wow.
real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply
이거
collect all of them, and then you
수많은
move the hell on
스탠리
with your unremarkable life.
마네킹들인가? 어우 야 좀 무서운데? 어우 야 이거 뭐야? 무서워. 이거 공포게임 같은데? 아니 어우야 씨. 와 대박! 너무 좋아요. 6개나 더 있어요? 5개나 더 있어요? 부금도 흥미로워졌어.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy
영혼이
reward
떨어지나
for
보네.
it. Absolutely tragic.
여기도 스크린샷 금지다.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this
다
one.
찍어야지.
I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on
언젠가 잘 될
Get
거야.
Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
뭐라고? 어씨 나레이션이 뭐라 하는지 못 봤네. 12살 생일 축하한다 조카 녀석아.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
아니 난 이거 눌렀는데. 뭐야?
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're
이게
moving
다야?
on. Come now, you've already made your choice. It's true that you chose badly,
뭐-
but we all have to
뭐
move
더
on
있나
from our
본데?
mistakes.
다시 해줘. 아닌가? 여기 또 청소 도구함처럼 여기 버팅기고 있어야 되나? 해줄 때까지? 확신이 없으니까. 여기 말고도 볼 게 많아? 라고 할 때 한 번 더? 재미없다. 뭐 소식이 없네요 여기는. 잠깐 안 가본 데가 있나? 주인 버튼 상품.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing
안심을
and
주는
paradoxical,
양동이.
that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution
양동이가
to
없는데?
this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley
와우.
Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
와우, 이걸 내가 잡아도 돼? 이걸 정말 내가 소유해도 돼?
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
이게 뭐야? 아니 뭐 이상한 거 그냥 시답 짜는 거 갖다 놓고 버튼이랑 뭐 풍선이랑 양동이 갖다 놓고 나레이션으로 다 떼어버리네. 재미없다. 우. 아까 전에 그 로켓리그 돌려달라. 우.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
이거 들고 버튼. 어우 재미없어. 어우 서든 어택2. 아까 영원히 떨어지는 구멍도 있지 않았나? 어디 있지? 여기 있나? 여기로 가면 있는 건가? 아 내가 여기로 들어갔구나. 구멍이 있고 무한 구멍 깊이 우주 더 많은 구멍 무한 추락 뭐야 이게? 궁금하면 몸을 직접
Stanley, here's an
던져볼까요?
idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right, infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
오 천장 내려와. 무서워. 괜찮아. 양동이와 함께라면.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more
어머.
ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now
어머야.
then, since you've gotten to
떨어지면서
see the
움직일 수 있어.
infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Okay, I guess we're back in the hole now. Did you really need to see it again? I don't know what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole. It's exactly what you're doing right now, but forever. There really are so many other fascinating exhibits.
아니,
that I've
위가 안
forgotten.
멀어지네?
I really spent quite a lot
영원히
of time on
떨어지면서
all this,
저
and I
아닌가
would very
멀어지나?
much like to show you some more.
작아지고 있는 것 같기도
How
하고.
about we go
오,
ahead and
작아진다,
press that
작아진다.
teleport button again, so we can get back to what's really important about.
어!
Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing, Stanley. I'll be honest with you. I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the hole
오래
long
나
enough
1분도 안
to hit the
있었는데.
bottom. Yes, I know. I told you the hole was infinite, but come on. Who actually wants to fall forever? The hole was plenty deep. It was more than deep enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem.
편없다.
Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just
돌아가는
call the
것도 안
whole
되네?
mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and
이제
press the
돌아가라고.
teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we
왔어요.
can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
왔어. 에잇!
Oh, for heaven's You see, I was right.
방금 욕한 것
The problem
같은데?
is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite
뭐야, 이거 담배
hole.
원래도
I didn't
있었나?
think it was
아까랑 좀
that not
다른데?
infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole.
나도
Is this starting to
궁금해.
become a thing where...
뭐야?
Wow. Okay. Yes.
아니?
I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is.
아니?
The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not... How is this still appealing to you? I know you're
여기가
obsessed
좋아.
with holes, but at this depth, I just can't
따뜻해.
see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
이제 그냥 바닥이겠는데? 누르면? 왜 안
Is
돼?
the teleport button not working?
네.
You sure?
왜 안 돼요?
Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation.
아니,
It was
아저씨
working
할 줄
just a
아는 게
moment ago.
뭐예요?
Try it again.
안 되잖아!
Still nothing. Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye,
뭐라고요?
Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley.
아니 아저씨 나 점프 없어요. 아니 이 점프 선 좀 그려주고 가. 아니 점프가 가능한 선을 그려주고 가. 무서워. 모임? 설마 씨 이대로 그 아까 전에 저 아래까지 내려간 그 뭐 10분도가 내려가는 거 아니야? 어이 뭔데? 음악이 되게 웅장한데 BGM이 되게 웅장한데? 아 씨발 양동이가 내 곁에 있어 다행이다. 진짜 안심을 주는 양동이가 많네요. 오 뭐야 이거? 아이 뭐 이거 뭐 시리즈 인트로 같은데? 어이 뭐야? 개간지. 야 넷플릭스 하나 나왔다. 뭐야 깨잖아. 아이 씨발 이게 뭐야? 아이 뭐야 이게? 아니 씨 아이 뭐지? 나만의 인트로 같은 건가? 오우
stronger. Now you're no longer using up the space of mine.
귀여워.
My head's stronger. Now you're no longer
귀여워.
using up
이건 또
the
뭐야?
space of mine. My head's
아니?
stronger. Now you're no longer using up the
인절미 귀여워. 카와이. 아이씨 뭐야 이거 그랜저리야? 머리 제대로 박네.
Stanley!
아저씨 아저씨 왜? 가짜다. 나 더 덜 해봤는데.
Because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every
재밌었.
second.
나 이게 제일
You don't
재밌었다.
want to miss
방금
a
한 게
single moment. So
오늘 한 것
how
중에 제일
about I just
재밌었다.
pop in from time to time
더 해보고
and
싶은데
wake you
덜한 것
up to
같은데.
keep you really,
좀 빨리
truly
눌러볼
focused
걸.
on the hole.
아저씨 갑자기
From
돌아올
the
줄
looks of
몰랐네.
things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole.
아니야
I'm
점프를
looking forward
만들어주면
to all.
되잖아요. 아니요 선
Stare
그려봐.
at
아까 전에
Stanley.
점프가
I'll
가능한
be
선
there.
그리면 되잖아.
Toodlepip.
또 가네 씨. 한 번 더. 한 번 더. 한 번 더. 한 번 더 가나? 씨발 이게 설마 6회차야? 여기서 시작이네.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
뭐가 달라졌나? 여기 없었던 거 같은데? 여기 닫혀있던 문 같은데 느낌이? 에필로그?
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
구멍 한번 더 들어가 볼까? 나 재밌었는데. 댕댕이 약간 힐링되고. 양동이 자꾸 끼익대. 쓸데없이 디테일해. 아니 씨발 제일 재밌는 컨텐츠를 잠가놨네. 재미없다. 동상 표정 구겨진 듯? 그렇게 들으니까 눈썹이 좀 내려온 것 같기도 하고. 원래 저랬나? 기억이 잘 안 나네. 뭐야? 씨, 나 또 어디 들어가는 줄 알았네. 아씨, 그냥 어두운 거였네. 아까보다 뭔가 좀 막혀있는 기분 탓인가? 왜 이렇게 막혀있는 거지? 와우, 여기도 어디야?
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
뭐 다 본 거 같기도 하고. 와우, 이거 뭐야? 멋있네. 스탠리 좀 멋있네, 이래 보니까. 스크린샷 찍으라고 적어놓은 거지? 이거 떨어지는, 영원히 떨어지는
So,
구멍 아니야?
Stanley, what do you think?
아닌가?
Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together,
의자에 함께
and
해줘.
we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanliparable 2.
와. 재밌는 건 다
I
모아놨네.
mean, there's potential here, right?
점프 가능한 원,
Sort of.
떨어지는
Okay, never
구멍,
mind.
두 개의
Hold
문.
on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go, version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley?
점프랑 구멍을
This
합쳐놨네.
isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I
어,
do very much enjoy
저거!
creating gags.
저거,
but they don't add up to
저거.
anything.
저거! 저거 먹어야
I
되는데?
wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love
아니, 저
it.
피규어
No matter how
있었는데.
good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanliparable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising
아니 근데
conviction,
시작할 때
this
시간은
is
왜
the
적으라고 한 거야?
Stanliparable
시간이랑
2.
아무 상관이 없는데?
Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
때깔로. 좀 무서운데 이거 뭐야? 식육점이 뭐야? 멀미나. 어이 꾸부정해. 아니 왜 이렇게 이 7회차 각인데?
This is the story of a man named Stan.
이번에는 원 다시 시작하네요. 2가 아니라.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
이걸로
Stanley decided to
꾸몄네.
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
언젠간 잘 될 거야. 아니야. 넌 안 될 거야. 넌 아무것도 할 수 없어. 넌 바보야. 세상 사람들은 모두 널 좋아하지 않아.
Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it?
양동아! 살아있었구나.
Stanley picked up the bucket. Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief in the magic of the bucket.
I believe. I bucket. 뭐든 해봐. 마법의 양동이님, 제가 나레이션을 직접 때려볼 수 있을까요?
Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
어서지고요. 안 들리는데쇼? 약간 이거 스폰지밥 마법의 소라고동 느낌인데? 안 돼.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
사장실랑
But
가볼 걸
Stanley
그랬나?
felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right. Then walking to the lounge. Then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired. Perhaps this was where the bucket
여기다.
felt most truly at home.
여기 뭔가 있다.
Here in the employee lounge. Perhaps it's the only place a bucket can even feel at home.
양동이가 편하다면 나도 좋아.
Stanley decided to just give the bucket absolutely as much time as it needed to be in the lounge. Clearly, the bucket and the employee lounge shared a special connection.
넵. 단가? (1등) 아빠. 다야?
But finally, the bucket was done being in the lounge, and they took the
씨발,
first
속았다.
open
아이씨.
door on their left to get back to business.
아, 문 닫으려고 하더라. 근데 여기도 원래 절로 쭉 가면은
No, said the bucket.
Oh.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
너잖아. 아니, 나레이션 너잖아. 뭐야?
Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top.
싫어!
Something up there I need you to... But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket. his
동상이
dearest
있다고?
friend.
나 못 봤는데.
So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
8회차.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply... Stanley lifted the bucket into his
Good.
arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
이번 왼쪽. 사장실로 가자. 어머.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office
양동이와
was where
함께
he'd find
청소
answers.
도구함이라면?
Oh, Stanley, Can you feel it?
이거
The
어울리는데?
broom closet. It
오!
wants the bucket.
오,
You
그래.
can feel that, can't you?
그치.
The aura of jealous. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the
보자마자
broom
청소
closet
도구함
is trying to say
생각나더라.
here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend.
아니야, 줘도 돼.
Can't hand it over.
양동이가 행복하다면.
We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and
망상이 좀
convenient?
심하네.
That your life is so
장단
banal and
맞춰주니까
meaningless
끝도 없네.
that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together.
난
Go through each of
양동이랑.
them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the
그렇고
rich
그런 사이야.
emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it. Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go.
아,
There.
뭐야?
Now it's settled.
주인
No
스탠리?
more debate, no more discussion. Take our
난
hype
짐인데?
broom closet with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things. All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate.
와우.
See? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker. You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket. But now, the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
하지마. 알았어, 나갈게. 는 구라. 나 진짜 여기 들어와 있는 기분이야. 약간 군대에서 농땡이 치는 기분이다. 이제 없나봐. 진짜 갔나봐.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
여기는 한 번도 아직 안 내려갔지. 오
Found one
예.
of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these.
뭐라고요?
Only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness.
도전
Stanley.
과제라도
God
안
knows
주나?
I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines. But
고고고.
Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? his boss would think he was crazy. And then something
오,
occurred
여기는
to Stanley.
왠지 똑같을 것 같은데?
Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I
아니네.
crazy? He
아,
asked the
양동이,
bucket.
아,
The bucket returned
양동이가
his gaze,
있구나.
but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket,
조금 왜 이래?
perhaps. How did I end
왜
up
이래?
with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come
어.
from this. Who knows
내
what sorts
양동이.
of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding
돌려줘.
presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very
그걸
odd.
이제 알아챘어?
Now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious,
Oh,
he
shit.
exclaimed. Without my bucket,
Oh,
I've gone
shit.
truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The
오잖아.
bucket! Could it truly
아시잖아요.
be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next.
내가 왔어.
None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
아닌가?
me, Stanley.
아니네?
He
아니.
had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was
아니.
the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then
아니,
suddenly,
내 소중. 스티커 붙여놨잖아. 스티커.
he knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along.
뭐라고요?
It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
누구?
Mariella woke up on a
그래서
day like
마리엘라가
any
누구?
other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and
양동이
security,
주인인가
and
보다.
walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him.
아저씨가 뺏어갔잖아요.
Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella
나
thought.
집 없어.
And she hugged her own bucket
사무실에서
even
먹고
tighter.
자.
But of course, she had no time for this. There were a
뭐
myriad of
양동이가
confusing
양동이를 다
problems she
하나씩
would soon have to
데리고
confront at
사는
work,
세계관이야
for
뭐야?
which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything.
인류가 얼마나
She
퇴보한
thought to
거야.
herself,
양동이한테
"My life
조언받을
kicks
정도면.
ass." And she
쌉인정이지?
backed it all the way to work.
공중제비를 넘으면 직장으로? 아니? 대박인데?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
메모. 사장실로
When
올라오자.
Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
양동이 혹시 없었나? 전부 찾으면 보상이 있을 것이다? 없다 그랬는데? 혹시 보상이 케이크인가? 체크돼 있다. 내가 한 거는 체크해줬네. 넓은 방, 많은 상자, 빨강과 파랑 모두 어딘가에서. 벽난로? 아니 벽난로가 어딨어? 중요한 사람을 위한 하지만 냄새나는 사적인 장소? 화장실인가 보다. 화장실 말하는 거 아니야? 저 사장실 화장실 있잖아. 빨리 다음 넘겨봐. 저것들을 어떻게 찾을 것인가. 다음. 프로젝터 이거 어떻게 넘겨? 알고 있는 거 사무실 전체에 떠다니는 물체가 나타나 그것들의 확보를 위해 모든 수단을 동원해야 함. 많은 의문이든 사측에서 온 메모는 없었음. 안건 어떻게 그걸 봤다고 말할 수 있는가? 무엇이 저것들을 떠다니게 하는가? 누가 이 사진을 찍은 것인가? 찰칵. 피겐리는 찾기 어렵다가 뭔 피겐리 이름인가? 416번 직원이 남긴 단서를 따라가라. 우린 알 수 있다.
Oh no! Oh no! Not. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not
나도 안
going
해,
to say
나도 안 해, 나도
anything
안
at
해.
all. I'm just
양동이가
going to be
없잖아.
patient
나도 안
and
해.
coming to a staircase. Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
한시. 짜잔.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for
피겐리요.
these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
만약 사장이 손해를 봤다면 그건 사장이 선택한 일이고 사장은 자신이 한 말을 사장 스스로 알고 있기 때문이죠. 뭔가 좀 문제가 이상한데? 아 엘리베이터. 맞아 여기 엘리베이터 있어. 음악 좋아. 올라갑니다. 씨발 이번엔 진짜 올라간 거 아니야? 원래 안 올라가는데. 스탠리패러블 울트라 디럭스라면? 뭔가 다르다. 울트라는 뭔가 다르다. 한껏 기대 중. 왜 종이가 빛나? 방사능 맞았어? 왜 이래? 이거 원래 내가 눌러야 멈추나? 아 근데 그런 꿈 한 번씩 꾸지 않아요? 엘리베이터를 탔는데 엘리베이터가 건물이 15층인데 뭐 예를 들어 15층인데 엘리베이터가 15층보다 더 높게 올라가. 그런 꿈 꾼 적 없어요? 나 진짜 한 번씩 간혹 한 번씩 그런 꿈 꾸는데 존나 무서워. 15층 건물인데 15층보다 더 올라가 갑자기. 아 그대로면 나 실망. 아 아래로 가는 거지? 아래. 띵동. 재미없다. 빵게임.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered
기억이 안 나요.
aloud to nobody.
뭐였지?
He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was
485?
caught by a
4885?
keypad behind the
아이
boss's
488호는
desk.
이씨야
What could its purpose
자동차
be?
남바잖아.
In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an
아까 몇
extra
번이었더라?
secret
기억이 안
pin
나네.
number, 2845.
2845.
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random
What?
buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
설마 자폭 그대로 또 하진 않겠지? 그 존나 긴데?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read
피규어?
Mind Control Facility.
어디? 헉! 엘베 타기 전에 있었어요? 아 쉣. 안돼. 이거 가면 근데 똑같을 것 같아 왠지 이번에. 근데 여기 너무 올라갈 수 있다고? 여기서 맞네? 어머 이거 뭐야? 올라가면 다시 그대로잖아.
Oops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back
원작이
into the
없었지,
elevator
전작에.
and went back up.
어머, 이거
Silly
뭐야?
me.
나
Why
피규어,
did
피규어.
Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his
아니,
boss's
피규어
office?
놓고 왔어요,
Well,
아저씨.
That's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
씨 왠지 다른 데 갈 것 같은데? 아닌가? 같은 데인가? 이거 어디 있어? 왜 난 안 보이지? 맵이 다른 맵인가? 내가 달라졌나 지금? 아까 안 먹어서 없나 보다.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got
그러니까
onto the
그
elevator.
피규어가 없네.
It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that
있었다고?
keen eye for
아니,
storytelling that you
어디
have.
있는데?
An incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow. I'm bolted
아니,
to
어디
the
있어?
edge of my seat.
엘베 맞은편 어두운 공간? 아이 뭐야? 씨. 황금빛? 아니 없잖아. 나도 어두워서 뭐가 뭔지 모르겠어 길이. 이거 시작할 때 밝기 조절을 잘못했어. 개어두워. 의도한 건가? 나 번호 또 까먹었어요. 이거 기억하는 사람. 번호 뭐였지? 너냐? 4885 2845. 이번엔 아니네. 번호를 누르게 해놓은 거 보니까 뭐 번호 더 있는 거 아니야? 다시 내려가자. 뭐 없나 본데?
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
씨 아까 먹었어요.
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
뭐 다를 수도 있는데 근데 씨 여기는 일단 근데 아예 안 갔잖아 지금. 한번 가볼까? 그냥 여기 갈까? 근데 안 다르면 좀 참사해요. 저희 좀 시간 길어서. 설마 또 올라가시나? 잠깐만. 여기서 또 올라간다고? 어머 불이 들어와 있네.
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No.
아니죠 당연히.
It's time once again to go back up in the
존나
elevator.
비꼬네.
I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
짜잔. 사장실이었습니다.
Oh my God. It's the boss's office.
아, 나 씨발 이거 초상화 보고 놀랐네.
This
아,
absolutely changes everything for me.
어,
Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
아니 너무 어둡잖아. 아, 씨발 깜짝이야. 아니 너무 어둡잖아요. 아, 좀 불 좀 켜줘. 뭐야?
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No! No, wait! No! I need more time to process.
아니 뭐야? 기다리는 중. 하염없이 기다리는 중.
All right. I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
가보면 돼?
Of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
굿. 예. 없나 이제? 야, 의미 없다. 한마디 해줘라. 아, 해주네.
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to
뭐야?
guess, that's the
내려줘요.
real thrill. Oh, I simply don't
뭐예요?
want to let
내려줘요.
the feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more
치졸하다, 진짜.
exciting? You know,
아.
Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big,
안 오네.
explosive moments
놀라는 거 싫어.
thrown right in their faces from the very moment that things get started.
아, 깜짝 놀라 점프 스퀘어 말하는 거
Where's
아니지?
the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises?
아, 난 그
To have to
놀라운이 그
think
놀라운인
and
줄
to
알았네.
anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal. This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years. And it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it. Which is why we're so
아니,
starved
피규어를 왜
for
못 봤지,
content
최초에.
that makes us
아,
feel sharp and
피규어
vital
가져가고
and
싶다.
alive. That's why people
뭐야,
like
이렇게
you so
많아,
much,
근데?
Stanley. Because you're not
빌딩이
afraid
좀
to
큰가 보다.
spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why, oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling
불러.
and your life.
기자회견
Yes, I
하겠습니다.
know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially
나
mean a
바뀔래.
lot to the people who have been following you
만점
from the
간다.
beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better.
어?
Oh, good. We're
투
here.
아니야? 패러블 2 같은데?
Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner
와우.
here somewhere.
허, 모두 그를 향해 집중. 무대에서 라이브. 스탠리. 개간지인데? 뭐야 이게? 세상에서 가장 건강한 인간. 모든 비밀이 밝혀지다. 이렇게 만들었습니다. 피라미드. 생중계 화성에 간 남자. 이거 왜 이렇게 세상 평온한 아기.
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door.
너무 화살표 해놓으니까 뭔가 싫은데? 뭐 없나? 이거 이제 안 열어줘. 가야겠는데? 세계 최초의 지각력이 있는 기계. 이게? 아이언맨에서 본 것 같기도 하고. 대왕 자람. 위대한 알렉산더 대왕과 대화를 나누다. 뭐야? 알렉산더 대왕과 대화를 나누다. 대왕 자람이야 뭐야?
All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means
Wow.
to craft a truly
진짜
unpredictable
대기실이네.
narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley.
행운을 빈다 챔피언.
Okay,
너의
it
사장.
looks like they're ready for you.
사장이?
Go get them.
엘리베이터 타는 모습이 멋있어요. 하트? 저 왠지 왜 이렇게 구울이 쓴 거 같지? 개쩌는 스케이트보드 묘기 많이 보여줘서 고맙다. 너 진짜 좀 치는 놈이야. 열나 멋지. 너무 열나는 좀 약간 틀인데. 행운을 빈다. 그냥 무대를 뒤집어 놓으라고. 행운을 빈다. 너의 사장은 왜 두 번이야? 엘리베이터 타는 모습이 멋있어요. 저거는 뭐 님들이 늘 하는 거잖아요. 막 뭐 기물 하나만 팔아도 뭐 기물 위치만 바꿔도 와 너무 멋있어요. 대박. 피자를 개발한 바로 그 남자. 맛있겠다. 피자 먹고 싶네. 와우! 대박. 씨발 나 이렇게 유명해졌어? 드디어 씨발 전작이 갓게임이 됐구나. 씨발 내가 이 정도 될 정도면 전작이 씨발 얼마나 인기 있는 거야. 미쳤어! 뭐야 이거 로비 레전드 결승전 현장 아니야? 레전드. 아 씨발 꿈. 아씨 그럴 리가 없지.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others. The confusion and the
이
chaos
양도
all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the
돌아왔구나.
bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket
이번에는
tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
저 사장실 아래 이스케이프 탈주하는 걸로 들어가 보자. 아 그리고 이거 먼저 찾아볼까? 이거 그러니까 사장실 잠깐만 글로 가도 되나?
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we...
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
아 그래 사장실 오고
Stepping into his
저기
manager's
들어가서
office, Stanley was once again stunned
타기
to
전에
discover not
있었다는
an
거지.
indication of any human life.
좀
Crushed
밝다?
by the weight of this
기분
revelation,
탓인가?
Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours,
아가리.
did the bucket's warmth... But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
와우. 아,
Okay,
이걸
I'm
못
going back to the
봤네.
name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm
벌써
torn
네 개야.
between Stanlerines and Figlets. What do you think, Stanley? What name
피겐님.
better encapsulates the intrinsic sense
아까
of
피겐이라고
happiness
적어놨던데?
that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
설마 또 올라오는 선택지 있는 건 아니겠지?
The elevator raced downward, plummeting
이번엔
towards
문
an
닫을라나
unknown
아예?
fate.
다시 들어오지 말라고?
It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
아, 왜 불이 들어와 있지?
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing
어,
those
아까
keypad
양동이 없이
buttons,
탔었나?
there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I
좀
can try
다른데?
pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
넘버 3? 아, 이 컨텐츠 갓게임이네. 이 플레이 타임 좀 긴데? 아직 한참 덜 한 것 같은데. 야, 이거 게임 가격 균열 돌았으면 2분 만에 끝났는데.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Wow, he
Wow.
said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number
뭐야?
3, he got back in the elevator. Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
아니, 왜 자꾸 불이 들어와? 아씨, 안 누를 수가 없잖아요, 이러면은. 아씨, 이거 어떻게 안 누르고 버텨, 이거를.
No, 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 said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand
나는
how
진짜
much the
저기
number 3 means to me.
익스케이프 저거 나가고 싶은데, 나가는 거 저거 가보고 싶은데, 불이 들어와 있으니까 자꾸 안 누르고 못 버티겠어요.
Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
근데 양동이랑은 뭐 별거 없는 것 같은데? 양동이랑 얘기 몇 번 하고 끝날 듯? 이건 별 내용 없을 것 같아.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument,
이러다가 갑자기
weaving a concerto of
되면은
truth and
대박.
passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and
양동이
hopes
죽어?
and fears.
아휴,
The
죽으면
whole
끝이 아니야.
time, he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all. Only silence.
끝맺음 있을 텐데.
Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
심으로.
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
여기까지 왔으면은 진짜 끝일까? 아니네.
Ah, said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there
아!
that he would hold
아,
a press conference where
반복이네.
he would speak
양동이랑
to the
대사만
public
좀
on
다르네.
all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it.
건너편에
Then
왜
the
사람
bucket
서
would be
있었던
able
거지?
to see
잘못
his
봤나?
joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be
세 번
through the
타면
public
죽는다는데?
eye
세
that the
번 타잖아,
bucket
이미.
would finally understand Stanley's work.
똑같나? 대사만 다르나?
For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his... This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over.
무수한 악수의 요청.
One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
와우.
There was no one
Oh.
here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means
아니, 왜
to
아무도-
press the number 3 on a keypad over and over.
번호판에
It was
숫자 3
unloved,
버튼을 계속해서 누르는 게 왜 정말
uninteresting,
중요한가
it was a
발표자 스탠리.
failure. And in that moment, Stanley knew that the
아니,
bucket would never again
아니,
take him seriously.
아니 많았잖아.
There would
아까는
be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
외로워. 다들 어디 갔어? 마치 지금 사람들이 모두 떠난 전장을 보는 것 같네요. 뭘 전장하러 가? 전장 다 떠났는데 지금.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
깻!
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley
이번엔
clutched the
진짜
bucket
간다.
tightly
아
to
이제
his chest
엘리베이터 불
and
들어와 있어도 안
entered
타.
the door on his left.
이번 바로 간다. 불도 안 들어올 것 같은데 이제. 빨강과 파랑 모두 어딘가에서 이거는 저쪽으로 가면 오른쪽 길로 가면 있는 빨강 파랑 그거 말하는 것 같은데. 넓은 방 많은 상자 저건 뭐지? 벽난로는 언제 했지? 아까 거기 사장실 그게 벽난로인가? 사장실 그 열리는 게 벽난로인가 보네. 한번 들어가줘야지.
Stanley, we must move on from this
아,
broom
오케이.
closet.
이번에 이제
Simply
대사
because I
반복이네.
have no remaining stickers. If I did, coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
크레인 타고 가다가 야 뛰어내린데 거기 말하는 건가?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an
8,
indication of any human
5.
life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
가자. 이번 진짜 가자. 문 좀 빨리 열리는 것 같다. 아 씨발. 아 불이 왜 들어와 있지? 다른가? 똑같나? 다른가? 똑같나? 다를 수도 있잖아. 한 번만 올라갔다 올까? 어차피 근데 다시 내려오고 그 다음에 똑같으면 안 가면 되잖아.
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those
아,
keypad buttons,
똑같네.
there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
이 사무실 한번 갔다 와야지 열리기 쉽다.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took
아,
the bucket over to the
쉣. 아,
keypad
괜히
and
왔다.
began absolutely slamming
번호까지
on the
눌러야
number
되네.
3 over and over and over.
아, 괜히 왔네.
Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket. After taking some time to show the bucket around the boss's office, Stanley laughed.
나가자, 이제.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something.
탈출하자.
Perhaps
전작에선
not
분명히
seen how
여기서
much joy
탈출이었어.
Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
아닌가? 짜부 엔딩이었나?
A hint of regret
감옥을
nagged
하네.
in the back of Stanley's mind. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead
아,
to the
탈출은
large
여기인가?
door that read,
여기가 탈출인가?
Mind
아닌데
Control
여기는
Facility.
아, 모르겠다. 가자. 자, 들어가자.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
질.
At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
죽여. 날 죽여. 캬! 내가 왔구나. 양동아, 미안하다.
As the machine
난
worded
이렇게
in
될 걸
motion and
알고서도
Stanley
널
and the
데리고
bucket
왔어.
inched closer to their demise, Stanley
미안해.
reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere.
아니 이런 기계가 왜 있는
Farewell,
거지?
Stanley.
Goodbye, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's
이거
true that
원래
all buckets are
밖으로
radiant in
나가는데?
their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a
양동이.
glorious bucket to behold.
위대한 전시회에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 이건 전작의 그 전시에
Can
났던
you see
그거네.
how
이 양동이로
arrogant
바뀌었네.
it was for Stanley
와.
to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him?
아니야,
Can
양동이가
you
나를
see
선택한
that
거야.
the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
불지옥 양동이? 아니? 도대체 양동이가 어느 시대부터 있었던 거야? 아니 이게 벽화가 남아있어? 동굴 벽화. 우리는 인류보다 양동이가 앞서 존재... 자연 발생이야 양동이가? 아니 외계인이 와서 만들어놨나? 이 동굴 벽화는 초기 인류가 양동이의 실용적인 용도를 발견한 모습을 그리고 있으며 이 시기에 양동이는 이미 몇천 년 동안 존재해왔을 것이며 나무에서 열리나봐. 오. 처음 알았어요.
No man can own a bucket. and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the
이거
bucket.
뭐지? 이거 궁금하다. 와, 성스럽다. 어? 왜 안 떨어져? 유리였어? 아닌데? 유리 비슷한 느낌도 없는데? 어? 뭐임? 아이!
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements. If only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
해치웠나? 몇 회지? 9트인가? 아니 몇 회인지도 모르겠다
All of
이제.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
이러면은 양동이 들고 사장실도 가볼까?
Stanley
아니다.
picked up the
오른쪽 갈까?
bucket and
오른쪽도 근데 하다 말았잖아.
He'd
이거
never
오른쪽
be
가야겠다.
alone again. Not truly alone. Not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket
아까
tightly to his
피규어 있었다고 안 돼.
way
씨.
to the meeting
아니 왜
room.
너 난 못
But
보는
Stanley
거야?
had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
아 오른쪽 들어가면 있다는 소리야?
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
여기도 안 내려갔었나? 여기 내려가는 길? 아닌가? 내려갔었나? 안 내려갔던 것 같은데? 여기로 갔지? 여기 안 가고. 아유, 할 게 많네. 아직도 루트가 많이 남았네.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
지나왔어요?
Stanley did not question why
여기
or how
있었다고?
this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk.
저기
But Stanley
멀리?
chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was
뭐야
fully
저기?
convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and
아니,
he unthinkingly did
저기 길이
whatever
있네?
the bucket asked.
저기서 어떻게 가는 거지? 아니 저 막혀 있잖아 펜스로. 아닌가? 저 펜스로 막혀 있는 거 아니에요? 저 위에 아닌데 여기도 막혀 있는데 어떻게 가는 거지? 나중에 길이 나오나? 저기 있네.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the
아,
phone.
전작을
and it
알고
will
하니까
take us
자꾸
back
씨.
home, where we can go about
원래
life
선도
together.
뽑잖아. 이거 그냥 전화 받을게.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once
약간
upon a
느낌
time,
다른데?
I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use
뭐야
a friend.
다르잖아.
And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
띵동. 와 옛날보다 집이 좋아졌네. 근데 싱크대 꼬라지가 뭐 공장이야? 뭐 왜 이래? 수건은 얼마나 안 빻은 거야? 다른 건 깨끗하네. 안녕 스탠리. 나야 네 양동이. 나를 데리고 일하러 가려면 V를 눌러.
The Stanley-Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
나를 데리고 함께 집으로 가려면 M을 눌러.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me. Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think.
뭐래?
It can't talk.
내
All it will ever
반려양동이야.
truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
저 시끄러운 사람 말은 듣지 마. 우리를 집에 돌아가게 하려면 V를 눌러. U인가?
You see, he's not
this is my
listening.
home.
He's still taking orders from the
어딨어?
bucket. You know,
어딨어?
once upon a time it was
양동이
me
어딨어?
he
여기
took
있다.
orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is this awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Z를 눌러 삶에서 나 외의 모든 것을 무시해버려. 약간 좀 무서운데? 양동이? 집착하는데?
It's sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
내가 정말 존재한다고 믿는 거지, 스탠리. 믿어!
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection
믿어.
that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another. Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's
싫어?
so much more than just a regular bucket?
아, 월요일 싫어. 월요일 싫어.
I'm having feelings
무서워.
for the bucket.
야, 지금 뭐 분신사발을 하고 있어.
What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong? I don't understand.
무서워. 아, 씨발.
If I had
아니, 뭐 악마 소환할
this
것
would be
같아.
less
아이, 무서워.
confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket.
가져가.
Give it to me.
나
Give me
무서워.
the bucket,
가져가.
Stanley. I need
가져가,
it.
씨발.
Give it to me now. Give it
눈을
to
감아?
me.
나 진짜 감았어. 네, 재밌었고요. 다음
All of his co-workers were
일단
gone.
그거를 먹으러 가볼까?
Stanley decided to go to the
펜스
meeting
막혀
room.
있었던 것
At the
같은데.
good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
이쯤 되면 문 하나 열릴
Stanley
법도
pressed the
하지
bucket
않나?
upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief in the magic of the bucket. Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No.
Said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
펜스로 막혀
The
있는데?
cargo lift, yes.
여기
Go
아니야.
there. Go to the cargo lift.
어떻게 가는 거지? 오르마? 아! 아 이건가? 아까 여기 잠깐 올라갔었는데. 아니 다시 이거 뭐야? 어머. 뭐야?
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anmarines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one. And then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Anmarines. None of us can.
야 근데 이게 물리가 이게 맞나? 이게 가능한 구조인가? 이게 가능한 건가? 다른 데인데? 어머 이거 어디야? 여기 뭐 하는데요? 이 회사의 비리
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time
씨발 양동이야
I pick
설이
it up.
아니야.
No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the
얘들이 이거
emptiness in
잡으면
my
정신을 못
chest
차리는데?
when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't
목소리도
figured
약간
out
아서스 같기도
why
하고.
I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
이게 뭔데 씹다가. 갑자기 미스터리 스릴러야. 스리안이 굶주렸다.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply... Where are we going today? The bucket asked.
대사 새로운
just
대사다.
smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him. Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief in the magic of the bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the
마지막
correct
한
way to the
개는
meeting room, but Stanley had
내용이
felt the
뭐였죠?
bucket calling to him,
어디 있지?
telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
빨강파랑 문이 어디로 가는 거였지?
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No,
여기
never
왼쪽인가?
mind. The bucket was wrong.
아니면은
Stanley
전화기
took the
선
door in
뽑는
his
거였나?
left to go back to the meeting
여기도 안 갔던 것 같은데? 크레인 떨어지는 거.
No.
근데 전화기 선 뽑는 것도 있는데.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift.
여기는
Yes.
근데
Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
아까
Good.
가서 하지 않았나?
Now
내가 안 한
ride the
선택이
lift
있나
all the
여기서?
way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken
전화기
to
선을
him,
안 뽑아보자.
and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
좆됐다. 선 안 뽑힌다.
Oh,
깜짝이야.
hold on. Why did
씨,
you
똑같은 거 또 보는 줄
unplug the
알았네.
phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke.
Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me serious. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right
아니
here.
그림자
Let's
움직이는
take
게
a
뭔가 좀 이상해.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should
코미디를
it
이런
last?
식으로 이론으로
How can it
공부를
be
해서
used
하는
to
그게
effectively
코미디인가?
silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
농담은 끝났습니다, 람지. 지금 연습하세요.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Hey,
끝났네.
goodness, this video is a little outdated,
내
isn't
말이
it?
들렸나
Well, no
보네.
matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
어? 야, 펜스 쳐놓은 거 봐. 떨어지지 말라고.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now.
저분으로
Well, I
나가고
wouldn't be the
싶다.
king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley. The bucket spoke. The bucket
이것도
spoke.
치웠네.
Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
연료?
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
가겠냐? 갈걸. 무서워.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were
얘기도.
supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp.
네 인생 한탄 들으려고 온 거 아니야.
I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again.
제발.
Surely that will help me.
그만. 시청각자료 그만.
Here we go. You
끝났네.
ready? When Stanley
나한테
and the bucket
보여준다는
came
줄.
to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
들어가겠냐?
What? We're back at the phone already? No. Here we
이제는
go. You
법정
ready?
너네.
When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
들어가겠냐? 들어간다.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right,
개소리야.
leading back
얘
to
왜
the
이래?
phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a... Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you...
이거
it's
그때
as though
그
all of your
ending.
other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see. Let's see.
아직도 다른 차원이?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
와, 화이트보드 엔딩. 오른쪽에 뭐 써놓고 지웠네? 강아지 모드는 뭐야? 이곳에 오신 걸 환영합니다. 헉, 양동아.
A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket.
Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discuss.
아니,
Stanley
씨,
clutched the
아니.
bucket tightly to his chest.
아니,
and
결국 또
entered the
문이네.
door on his left.
아, 이거 오른쪽 갈걸. 아.
Stanley, we must move on from this
이거
broom
똑같은 거
closet,
같은데, 그냥
simply
일로
because
가면?
I have no remaining stickers.
Coming to a staircase,
이 아래는 다
Stanley and the
봤었나?
bucket walked upstairs to
이
the
아래는 뭐
boss's
있었지?
office.
아, 여기 그 날아가는 거구나. 근데 위에 최초의 사장실 갔을 때 말고 그 한 번 더는 안 갔어요. 한 번 더 가면 뭐 혹시 다르지 않을까? 이건 뭐 더 없나?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
일단 사장 그 마인드 컨트롤 한번 다시 가보자. 혹시 다르지 않을까? 양동이랑 같이 가는데 양동이 없을 때 최초에 한번 맨 처음에 갔던 게 거기였고.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read
여기는 갈릴 길
Mind
없었잖아.
Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly
똑같은 것
dropped the
같은데
bucket in
양동이 멘트만
shock. Everyone
추가되고
in the office was being videotaped,
같은 느낌인데.
monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do
내려가는 게
or
있어요.
not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking,
eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in,
그럼 아까 전에
Stanley
온
decided
눌렀으니까
that
이거
this
오프 누를까?
machinery would never again
여기
exert
선택지가
its
있긴 하네.
terrible
엄마야.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes.
아
They
이게
had
바깥
done it.
엔딩이구나.
Stanley and
아까
the bucket had
그게
defeated
아니라.
their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now
바깥도
mere
다르려나?
moments away.
전작이랑?
Excitedly, the two of
양동이
them began to
보인다.
discuss the kind of life they
양동아.
wanted to live once they stepped through
지랜딩이야,
this
우리.
massive door.
이게
The
지랜딩이야
bucket
우리.
wanted to learn to roller skate.
우리
Stanley
나가서
wanted to sneeze in every country on earth.
나가서
Both
물이나
of them
퍼자.
wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and to...
어?
What? Wait. What was happening?
어?
Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed?
아니
An unbearable
이게
silence
아닌데?
filled the room,
아니,
lingering in
이게 아닌데?
uncertainty.
왜 안
Until
들리지?
finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave.
오 양동이 놔두고 가. 야 너 꺼져. 아니 씨발 나라도 보내줘. 아니
Needed the soothing warmth of the bucket. Would go to any lengths not to.
아니 나 양동이 필요 없는 나.
No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness
뭐라고?
isn't really so
아니.
bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me,
양동이
right?
이거
I'll
단단히
be okay
악마가
with that.
씌었네.
Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
아 저 피규어만
How long
찾자.
was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself.
아 이게 밖으로 못 나가 버리네.
Days?
The embrace of an old friend, a weathered companionship that stands the test of time. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
나 여기 왔어요. 내레이션 아저씨.
No, stop.
Oh.
Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past
뭐라고요?
this point. Stanley, how could you
Oh.
think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless...
아까
The
양동이
problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket.
양동이
I
없이
suppose that
왔구나.
would explain a lot about your behavior up to
아니
this
아저씨
point.
나 여기
Which,
피규어
if
먹어야
that's
되는데.
true,
아니
well,
양동이 좀 손에서
I
떼봐.
think we have
아이씨.
to do something about it.
아니 손에서 놓질 않아.
This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
이게 또 뭐야?
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios and you'll tell me
이것은
whether or not the thing
양동이일까요?
I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
아니 양동이 뭐 1대100이야 뭐야? 양동이지.
Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket.
야 이씨 그럼
not
내가
an
어떻게 알아?
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
아 씨발 좀 가까이서 보게 해줘. 아니 아니야.
Correct.
나이스.
It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
근데 3D 프린터로 만들었으면 그게 양동이 아니에요?
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
아니요.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
아니 씨발 장난하나.
Is this a bucket?
사람을 짐승으로 보는.
Correct. This
Ah,
is a tractor and not a bucket. To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme. But I was
그렇지.
starting to get concerned that even this
사람을
might
안
be too
보네.
much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
다음. 아이
Is this a
잠깐만.
bucket?
아유 수상한데 두 번은 좀 수상한데. 어떤 개소리를 하나 볼까?
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
왜? 왠지 설명해. 아!
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
아니요.
Trick question.
어?
Both. Gotcha.
아니 뭐 개소리야. 아니 쥐 좆대로 하네.
Item. Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere.
뭔데 이번엔 투명 양동이야? 투명 양동이가 울부짖었다. 예스.
Okay, you and I both know
야!
nothing here. And I don't appreciate
너 죽을래!
that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that
아니
nothing is
니가
a bucket?
트랙터도 양동이라며. 아니 씨. 아 백본딩님 7개월째 고맙습니다. 감사합니다.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out.
지랄은.
I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago, I could answer these questions with confidence.
내
But
손에
now
들린
I'm
게
somewhat adrift.
이 양동이야.
Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
빡게.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship
아예
apart.
양동이를 놓고
I
가야지
can't have
피규어
that.
먹을 수
I'm
있겠다.
sorry.
양동이 들고 가지
I'm going
말자.
to erase all buckets
어?
from the
뭐라고?
game entirely. Okay.
어?
Here we
진짜?
go.
정말? 양동이 거의 뭐 신적 존재 같은데 이걸 네가
What
없앤다고?
happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait,
모든 게
was
양동이었던
everything
거임.
a bucket?
어이씨.
Every single thing in the game was a
아니?
bucket? Oh my God! I
아니
had no
뭔
idea.
씨.
How could? Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
All of his co-workers
양동이
were
없다.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley
진짜
decided to
처음부터인가?
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
아 여기 있구나. 아 다음 방이구나. 짚지 말자. 짚지 말고 오른쪽 가자.
when Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge
혹시
first,
이번에 양동이
just to admire.
집으면은 뭐 대사가 있나?
And here it was, the lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the
양동이
first open
집어볼
door
걸.
on his left.
요거 먹고 나서 피규어 먹고 양동이 한번 다시 집어볼까?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
일단 피규어
Look,
마지막
Stanley,
거
I think
먹고.
perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you forgot. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do
양동이
want to
반입
help
금지.
you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it.
여기다.
Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
어디 있는
Now
거지?
listen carefully.
Oh
this is
my
important.
god!
Stan, and there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward.
도전과제
I
떴었나?
would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all,
안 떴나?
but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that.
왜요?
So,
도전과제 줘요.
instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
도전과제 줘요.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be
Oh,
happy all
yeah.
this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I want it to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you. What do we want? What are we looking for?
이 평화로운 곳.
Here.
이거 오랜만이네.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I
행복해?
actually feel happy.
행복해? 네가 행복한 꼴은 절대 못 보지.
No, wait. Where are you going?
어디 가는 것 같아? 어디 가는 것 같아?
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs.
난
If
네가
you hurt
행복한 꼴
yourself,
절대 못
if you
봐.
die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
죽어!
Please, Stanley.
죽어!
No! Oh, thank God you live. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
왜 그러냐고? 네가 행복한 꼴을 보기 싫어.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room.
나 느려졌어.
Can you do that for
다리
me?
한짝 부러졌나 봐.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game?
나
That
싫어.
you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it?
지긋지긋해.
You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep
지긋지긋해.
me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
이제 죽나? 편안해지고 싶다.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it.
왜 이렇게
I
체력이
don't
많지?
know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much
집으로
to
관청하는
ask.
거 봐.
It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all.
그러게요. 아니 체력이 좀
Well,
많네요.
this one is yours.
엄청 높은데 이게.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
아니 목소리 왜 이래? 좀 슬프잖아. 너무 시무룩해 한다.
Stanley, I'm sorry,
아니.
but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines.
예.
Those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone?
뭐야 아까
I would
가졌는데?
love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
아니 여기를 또 이번에 모으고 오는 거야? 스탠리가 수집 요소를 발견했을 때 스탠리와 나의 추억의 공간 어딘데 내가 모은 거 여기야?
Here's where it all
아닌가?
began. The first collectible. Back then we had no idea of how many of them we'd find.
아니
Sure,
이거
it said
맞는 거
six
같은데
right
이거
there on the screen,
저거잖아.
But how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
왜 7개야? 무서워. 왜 7게임? 여기 다시 못 가네.
And here was a second
어?
Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then I had no
그림자네.
faith in you
나
to find
무서워.
any
아,
of
씨발.
them, let alone six.
조명이
But you
무섭잖아.
continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
아씨.
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini stand?
화장실.
Do you remember?
인가요?
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here in the boss's bathroom. It was the third one.
아니.
You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all,
축하,
science
감사합니다.
tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything. Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone. So it
이런
must
데를
have
내가
happened.
온 적이 없는데 이게 뭐지? 이게 뭐 애플이야 뭐야? 핑크룸 여기를 언제 왔었는데? 이게 뭐라? 날 바보라라? 이건 또 뭐야?
This was the 5th mini stand, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy. Doesn't it? I spent a lot of
한패팅
time making
작품인가?
that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
뭔 소리야? 아니 나 여기 뛰어내려도 돼? 아 막혀 있네. 어머. 아 중학생도 잘 만들지.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
같은 거네. 와우. 과거. 당신은 지금 현재에 있습니다.
And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone. No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen.
What?
Isn't there some way we can
What?
stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels. Okay, yes. The room with the red and blue doors. I remember this.
아이,
I must
몇
say,
개를
of
먹는
all
거야?
the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more. And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video? Yes, I love that video.
근데 여기 나 진짜 왔어?
Still don't remember
왜
the
여기
pink
기억이 안
room,
나지?
Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room though. A solid room. These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
이거 다 하면은 과제 주겠는데? 이 정도면?
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
뭐야, 폐관했네. 사장 문 열어. 점프다. 점프 갈게.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was...
나레이터 스토리도 있나?
I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again.
나레이션이 하는 망상이야?
Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
진짜 끝인가? 진짜 엔딩인가 이제?
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
어?
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his
무서워.
boss's
왜 이렇게
office
무섭지?
was where he'd find
아, 왜
answers.
뭔가 무서운데? 게임을 완전히 재시작할걸? 왜 이렇게 무섭지 이 말이? 완전히 재시작이면 껐다키란 소린가?
All of his co-workers were gone.
아, 일단
What could
저까지
it
한
mean?
번만 다시 가보자.
Stanley decided to
있으면
go to the
껐다키.
meeting room.
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
다시 해야겠는데? 무서워. 인트로 시뻘건 것도 무서워. 큰 거 오나? 이거 밝기 조절은 다시 안 나오나? 아이씨. 잘못됐다. 37분으로 했나? 몰라 씨. 그게 그건데. 네. 실제 시각 아닌데? 대충 때려 맞추려 그러네. 아닌데. 난 10분 실수했는데. 그냥 12시로 시간 맞춰 떠나버립니다. 정말 감사합니다. 보답? 환불해주세요. 협조를 잘해주셨으니 다음번에 게임을 실행하고 이 화면을 볼 때는 시계를 당신이 가장 좋아하는 시각으로 설정하세요. 마음대로 하세요. 원하는 시간을 고르세요. 정확한 시간이 아니더라도요. 당신은 충분한 자격이 있어요. 또 껐다키라는 소리잖아. 내가 좋아하는 시간이 있나? 나 좀 새벽 시간 좋아해. 해 떠 있을 때. 요즘에는 한 뭐 5시면 해 떠 있으니까 한 5시 반? 약간 사람은 없고 새벽 공기에 요즘에 해 살짝 떠 있어가지고 좀 좋아. 고요하고. 한 5시 반으로 해야겠다. 오전 5시 30분. 네. 아니야. 예. 뭐가 정확해? 지금 시간이랑 비교해서? 아니 뭐 좋아하는 거 고르라며. 근데 뭐야? 뭐야? 왜 자꾸 데이터를 수집해? 뭐 지가 구글이야 뭐야. 아니 왜 자꾸 껐다 키래. 아니 게임을 왜 자꾸 껐다 키래. 각본 이름 보여주려고 그러는 거 아니야? 밝기 오랜만이다. 야이씨, 밝기 이제 추가해주는 건가 설마? 개와 고양이가 친구가 될 수 있게 슬라이더를 조절하세요. 오, 귀여워. 숫자 5가 9가 될 때까지 조절하세요. 뭐 능지 테스트야? 슬라이드 조정을 중지할 때까지 조정하세요. 뿌숑 빠숑. 아니 조정했는데? 네. 네. 아니 뭐 개소리야. 몰라 임마. 없어. 다 말했어. 도와줘요? 오늘 거면 다시 안 킬 것 같긴 한데 뭐 말이라도 해줄 수 있죠? 씨발 게임 시작 버튼 누르기 무서워.
This is the story.
웰컴 백? 이거는 그냥 껐다 킨 거고.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket
양동이가
so
구해달라 했나?
magnificent. Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded onward.
뭐지? 뭐 달라진 게 없는 것 같은데?
Stanley pressed the bucket
껐다
upon
켜볼까?
every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief. Stanley clutched.
도와줘요. 아니 난 동의한 적 없는데. 요즘에 이런 거 동의 안 하면 다 위법이에요. 누구 맘대로 자꾸 수집을 해. 시발. 아니 왜 자꾸 뭐 아니 누군데요 니가. 진짜 수집했나 본데? 어떻게 알지? 나 누구랑 같이 하는 게임 불편해. 천잰데? 가지마. 가지마. 너랑은 같이 게임할래. 가지마. 이거 게임 내에서 찾아야 되는 건가? 게임 내에서 만나는 건가? 에필로그? 아, 이게 엔딩인가 보다. 아까 그 사막이잖아. 이거 스킵 버튼 누르다가 왔던 사막 아니에요? 뭔데 검은 사막? 사막 탈출. 아, 이거 그냥 에필로그구나. 그야말로 뭐가 미션이 있는 게 아니라 마지막 연출인 같은데? 와우. 머리가 씨 너무 따가워. 아니 근데 나 이거 제일 재밌었던 거는 그거야. 그 시점 바꾸는 거, 강아지 나오고 막 배경에 그랜저라고. 그때가 제일 재밌었다. 와우. 점점 뭔가 부금이 갑자기 좀 마지막에 내레이션 시체라도 나오는 거 아니야? 스탠리패러블 2. 뭔가 있네. 아 씨발 왜 이렇게 음침해 계속. 근데 무섭게 씨 열받네. 씨. 아까 전 악평 쓴 친구 아니에요? 타협 없는 게임 콘텐츠. 다른 속편들과 마찬가지로 나는 원작 스탠리패러블을 즐겼지만 이건 내가 속편에 얼마나 실망했는지를 보여준다. 독창적이라고 주목받던 전작과 달리 스탠리패러블 2는 지루하고 영감 또한 없으며 팬층을 모욕하기도 한다. 첫 번째 게임의 즐거웠던 부분을 늘리기보단 속편은 아무도 관심을 두지 않았던 구역으로 옮겨간다. 무한히 깊은 구멍? 누가 신경 쓴다고. 새로운 엔딩들은 어디 있는가. 스탠리 1의 어드벤처 라인 같은 재미있는 요소는 대신에 우리는 영감도 없는 피규어를 모으는 사이드 퀘스트를 받는다. 심지어 이런 2편의 전환점조차 불완전하게 느껴진다. 모든 피규어를 모아도 아무것도 주지 않는다. 그러게요. 포스트 기록이 왜 2027년까지 있지? 패러블 2가 27년 나왔다라는 가정이 그건가? 설정인가? 13년이랑 27년 이렇게 있네. 아니 이거 뭐야? 캣독 탄생하다? 뭔 씨... 찜 잼. 스탠리패러블 개발자들 스피노프도 없고 속편도 없다. 2013년에 큰 성공하게 출시되었을 때 개발자들은 게임을 하나의 프랜차이즈로 만들려고 계획했다. 하지만 패러블 2에 대한 치명적인 비판과 상업적 이유는 오늘 출판된 뭐야 이거 미래의 글인가 본데? 2에 대한 가상의 그런 건가 봐. 2 냈는데 망했다는 소린가 본데? 짐은 뭔데? 뭔데 자꾸 짐이 왜 있는 거야? 레이너? 짐 레이너. 가. 짐 어서. 스타3 컨펌. 뭐야? 아니 씨발 어디까지 늘어나는 거야? 남은 거 택배로 보내주세요. 초과분 보내줘. 안녕. 얘는 누구야? 내레이터의 문제였습니다. 그는 사람들이 어떻게 생각하는지에 너무 집착했어요. 그와 똑같은 실수를 하지 마시길. 우리는 함께 스탠리패러블 3를 만들어 나갈 것입니다. 간단해요. 타이틀에서 숫자만 바꾸면 됩니다. 게임을 위해 크고 화려하지만 정말 멍청해 보이는 부제목. 단어를 조합해보세요. 정말 멍청해 보이는 화려하지만 멍청한 스탠리의 작은 폭발. 띠용. 디저리두가 뭐예요? 디저리두가 뭐지? 약간 좀 바보 같긴 한데 뭔가 어감이 좀 바보 같긴 한데. 전설의 게임의 호화로운 스탠리의 작은 사악한 액체. 스탠리의 작은 이거 말 골랐을 것 같다. 난 웅장하게 하자. 전설의 별론데? 스탠리의 작은 동료들. 좋네. 작은 구울들 이런 느낌 괜찮은데? 스탠리패러블 3 스탠리의 작은 동료들. 이 작은 동료들아. 게임을 다시 시작할 때마다 속편의 수를 하나씩 추가한 다음 새로운 부제. 아니 다시 들어올 때마다 부제를 계속 짓는다는 소리야 뭐야. 그냥 똑같은 내용일 뿐이고 계속해서 재활용되며 새로운 메인 화면이 나올 거예요. 어떻게 생각하시나요? 추진해야 할까요? 저야 좋지만 당신에게도 발언권이 있었으면 좋겠습니다. 아니 뭐 싫어. 뭐 제목만 소제목만 바꾸고 타이틀만 바꾸고 뭐 속편이라고 한다는 건가 뭐야. 만약에 생각이 바뀌어서 새로운 속편들을 만들고 싶다면 다시 저에게 말 걸러오세요. 에필로그 가서 또 말 걸고 들어올 때마다 새로 하나 보네. 지금 뭐 또 있나? 한 번만 나갔다 들어와 볼까? 뭐 없네. 지금 에필로그 들어가면은 다시 처음부터인가? 끝까지 가야 만날 수 있나? 아, 다시 그대로 끝까지 가야 되나 보네. 아, 그냥 오케이 할걸. 괜히 아니다 했다. 네, 재밌었습니다. 아씨, 한 4시간 정도, 4시간 좀 안되게 했네. 아직 뭐 못 본 것도 있을 것 같긴 한데, 그래도 못 본 거 좀 있을 듯. 그래도 얼추 굵직한 거는 본 듯.